Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sandy Bottom Homestead. It's a beautiful day here in coastal North Carolina. I've got a greenhead fly trying to bite me, so there is that. And we're going to be harvesting our second bed of potatoes. And I want to see and really pay attention to how they did in comparison to the other ones. This is the culprit right here, and this bed seemed to go flawless. We're going to find out soon. The other one didn't do as well as we wanted. Still did well, but not as well. So I still have the basket from the other ones, and we'll be able to compare. I saved that basket because a couple people had left comments how they wanted to see a comparison, and I think it's a valid point. I'm not going to weigh them, but we can see a visual comparison. And then just see. But this is, you know, every time I go to harvest a root crop, I get super nervous. I mean, I'm talking about nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. You never know what's going to come out. I want you guys to see my first pull, and I'm not going to do the whole bed with you guys on camera, but I definitely want to just start, see what we can get from at least one plant together. Uh-oh. Well, that is not getting very promising, is it? Oh, just kidding. There we go. But still, one potato, that's not very promising. Okay, now I think we're starting to cook with some peanut oil. All right, so I've got 30 more plants to look at. When I come back, we'll see what we did, and then we're gonna compare. Oh boy, had to take a break. I'll show you what we got so far here. It's looking pretty good though. Oh boy, had to take a break. I'll show you what we got so far here. It's looking pretty good though. So you can see the taters right there. We've dug from here to here, all of that. So we've got this last section to do. So far so good. I gotta say, I wasn't gonna bring you guys back until I was done, but you know what, I got kind of bored, so I figured I needed somebody to talk to. Can't hold a phone to my ear, so here we go. Let's do this. One thing I've learned over the years about taters is I dig them by hand. I've tried digging forks, I've tried shovels and all that stuff, and I just always seem to damage the taters, so I just dig them by hand. And my question is it considered no-till if it's tilled by your hand? Because essentially what I'm doing is I'm literally tilling this entire bed with my bare hands. And it is not fun. Well, it is fun because I like seeing what the taters come out. And you know, every time I get one of these, I think gourmet. It's kind of stupid, but that's the way the world works. But this is just a diligent way to do it, and just go methodically, inch by inch through the bed. Because if you miss something, then you miss a potato. And I don't want that. You know what I mean? We work too hard for that to leave any on the table, so we get what we can. I guess my big question today, and what we're gonna find out, is the amount of effort that we put into this bed and the other bed. Is it really worth it? You know what I mean? Like, we didn't do too much more, and we're gonna find out sooner than later now, but is it really worth it to put forth that extra effort into a potato crop to see how much more you're gonna get? I mean, that's something that I'm always trying to figure out, because, you know, a lot of times if I can get away with doing less, that's definitely what I wanna do. And I mean, as far as like, trying to think of the correct word here, I guess high energy crops would be, which means like tending, fertilizing, weeding, watering, like everything combined. Potatoes really aren't, ooh, right on top, really aren't a very high energy crop. So, I mean, you know, kind of getting into not the next video, but like right after we do this and we start to compare, I got a bumblebee trying to fly up my shoulders. That's not good. What was I saying? Remind me what I was saying. Okay, cool, thank you. You know, we came out here we planted them, obviously. We fertilized them, and then we kept them watered, and we hilled them a couple times and mulched them. And that was, you know, this year, really, that was about it. We didn't have a lot of pest issues like last year. Last year, we had those damn fire ants that were just brutal. And what I found is they were chewing the base of the potato plant, and then the plant would collapse. So, you know, you have to get, hold on, got a gold nugget here. We had to treat for that, you know, and I kept my eye open this year, and thank God we didn't see those. So we'll just keep, you know, hopefully that's going to be on a year by year basis. So what I do when I do this too is, you know, as I create these holes and I have all this extra mulch, what I'll do is I'll come back and just kind of put some in the holes that I create and mix up that mulch so it can break back down in the garden. So it's not a waste of time, because as tired as my hands get, it's definitely worth it so far. I told y'all I was tired, I was bored, wanted somebody to talk to, and you're my victim. As far as digging how deep, I find that my potatoes are about roughly to the half of my, from my fingertip to the half of my hand down at most. So I don't typically have to go too much farther, but you never know. So I just kind of stick my thumb down there and work it. And as soon as I say that, here's one that was deeper. But yeah, this garden is getting worked good. So what are your potato crops up to, everybody? How are they growing? So this garden, we hilled it 3 times. And they weren't big hillings, but they were 3 different hillings. We fertilized it twice with granular fertilizer. The first time we put blood meal and a well-balanced fertilizer in. The second time we put just a well-balanced fertilizer in. And while we were feeding our broccoli, we were at the same time drip feeding this garden bed as well. And so that was for the first 2 months. After we did the second hilling, we mulched the bed. And then on the third hilling, we just put the dirt on top of the mulch. I believe that was the order we went in. And so what that did is that allowed for the mulch to continue to break down, and in a sense actually act as if it was a hilling. That's what we were thinking. So I told y'all in the last video, and if you haven't watched that one, you should probably, I'll link it at the end, about the potato harvest from the other bed. And it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And you know, I have a standard that I like to meet. And I don't know if I'd call it a standard. It's more like a goal. I have a goal of an amount that I want to meet, and if I don't meet it, it triggers me to try harder, to reevaluate and all that stuff. And so that's what we did. Well, that's what we're gonna do. This evaluation that that you're seeing right now comes from last year's harvest. So we were able to see what the difference was. So we'll take the data we get today and we'll compare it, and then we'll see how to adjust for next year. And that could be a number of variables, which we'll get into. You know, coastal North Carolina, it can be hot, it can be mild this time of year, and there was 0 breeze, so I definitely had to come over here and just take a little bit of a break. My hat's getting soaked through, but that's all right. Let's see here. So before we show the last ones, I've got the other ones in this basket right here. I just want to say what we did different with those. We mulched, we hilled them 2 times. We did not mulch them like we did the other ones, and the fertilizing was the same. So this is the result of that one. Here I've got them all in this basket, and you can see it's actually not that bad. When you get them in the basket, I was a little bit more happy with it than I thought I was at the time. And I know the camera's going crazy, but whatever. It's about, I don't know, maybe a third of the way full off of the other ones. And the big difference is going to be the amount of sun that they got. And let me get the other potatoes real quick, and then we'll do that, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about that aspect of it as well. All right, now that's a harvest of potatoes. I gotta say it's probably in the range of 20, maybe 25 pounds of tomatoes in there, maybe. I don't know, I don't have a scale, don't want a scale, don't care. I just go by off of what it's gonna feel like when I'm eating them all. But there you go. That's a haul of potatoes. And so that tells me a lot, actually. This tells me more than you could ever imagine, especially because we did the other two. But yeah, I'd say this may even be close to 30 pounds of potatoes. So I'm pretty happy with that. What does that say? That says a lot of things. One, I did the mulch and I treated it as a hilling. That may have had a lot to do with it. The variety may have something to do with it. So what we're going to do next year is we're probably going to plant one here, one over there, same thing as we did before. And then we're going to use, I'll probably swap the varieties. No, I'm sorry. We're going to use the same technique, and we're going to do a red and a white potato. Now, or those are, I believe those are Yukons. Yukons seem to do better for me than the red potatoes. Still not a big deal, but I want to see in that way, if we do them both the same, then we'll know if the variety makes a difference. So then that leaves the amount of sun. So we have morning shade, afternoon shade, and hot in the morning and warmer in the evening, and that's just because of the time of year it was, where it would cool back off quickly. So these potatoes never got hot, which brings me to the amount of sun in your garden. And I've done a lot of content about it before, and people just don't care. Like, hey, stop talking about it, nobody cares, this, that, and the other. And I mean, when it comes down to it, I gotta tell you guys, when it comes to the sun in your garden, shit matters. It makes a big, big difference. It means the amount of food and nutrients it can provide, uptake, feed the roots. It means the temperatures from the time of day in which it makes your plants get to what they like. And I think we just saw that here, where in the past couple of videos between this bed and that bed, it didn't do as good. And it was, I think it was because of the amount of heat that we got all of a sudden in the early spring. And in the spring, the way the climate works is it'll be hotter in the morning, cooler in the evening, because over that way, right through there, about half a mile is the ocean. So the ocean breeze comes in, we get a sea breeze in the afternoon, it comes off the ocean, and when the water is 55 to 60 degrees, well actually when we planted in the water was 58 to 64 degrees, now it's 75. So when that wind comes off in the afternoon, it cools it down. So even though this garden gets the hot sun, typically the afternoon sun, that time of year, it's the cool sun. And that's really important to remember. Again, microclimates, man, it's all different. So yeah, it's a big deal. So the last thing it tells me is just because one bed didn't do bad, but the other one did, we broke totally even. We surpassed our goal. We came out on top. And if you want to save money and be budget minded when you're gardening, that right there pushed us way over the edge. We are good to go. We had $10 investment in potatoes, and between the two harvests, we've got about $40 to $50 worth of potatoes, I believe. I'm gonna have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what we come out on top with. So it's a testament to the monocropping that I do as well, because now this bed, I can put anything I want in it, anything. And so what's gonna go in it next is buckwheat. Goodbye.